Life Check Yourself with Bobbi Palmer. How a dating expert became her own client and found hope again in her 60s. Ladies, and welcome to another amazing episode of Life Check Yourself. I have a friend. I used to say old friend, Bobbi, but I don't say that anymore now that I'm older. Because then it's like, we're old. I've known Bobbi for a long ass time.
Long time.
And we are vital and younger than ever. And I'm super excited for you to meet her. She became a first-time bride at 47. She's now a woman on a mission. She's here to help you find love. And by find love, she means find a man who has his life together, is looking forward to an exciting future, and wants a true partner to share that life. In other words, a grown-up guy. She's an internationally recognized dating coach for women over 40. She has compassionate, tangible advice with a heaping side of sass. She's here and she's going to talk about how there are plenty of fantastic single grown-up men out there, even if you don't see them. They are actually so looking for you. And it's important to have fun on your journey to find him. And she lives in Mexico. And so it makes sense that she says maybe doing something that includes some good tequila. All right. Well, welcome.
Thanks, Marnie.
Have you here.
Hello.
So, I think it's a really great opportunity because I coached this woman, Imran, who's my producer, is probably listening and just either giggling or crying. But we had this client last year, and she didn't want to take any of my advice. And she kept telling me that I got married so long ago. I don't know what it's like. I've never done it in the last 15 years. Like, you don't know, blah, 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 blah. And I fired her. But also, I think it's it's true. And also a lot of things have not changed. And what's great that you are here is because you did date 15, 20 years ago, and now you're doing it again, and you're a dating coach. So, what do you say to that? Like, how has it changed? What's going on? How would you answer that person who was like, I'm not listening to your dating advice because you don't know how much it sucks?
Okay. So first of all, yes, I dated almost 20 years ago because I was married for 18. So now I'm single. And what's changed is me.
No,
what's changed is me. I mean, it's been 20 freaking years. So I just realized that I'm going out with just this kind of really feeling my feet planted firmly on the ground, feeling good about myself, feeling worthy, not going into it like I was so long ago. Is he the one? I hope he's the one. I hope he's the one, because I have a good life and I have hope, and I know that I will meet someone. I'm not done. I'm 66. Not done with love. Definitely want some new good sex.
Right.
Which I didn't have. And, but I know it's going to happen, and it could be tomorrow and it could be 5 years from now. And that's okay. Whereas before, when I was 20 years younger, and I dated for 30 years, I was 47, right? Every date was just trauma and drama, and I hope he's the one, and I hope I don't have to date anymore. And so, yeah, it's about what you and I both, I finally learned what you and I both teach our clients. Right? Does that sound right?
And that's so great. And I think that whether you are 27, 37, 57, 67, 77, whatever it is, like, and this is really what you and I talk about. And so I'm excited for you to elaborate. But like, if we're constantly blaming the conditions, if we're blaming the apps, because I think about this, like, talking about like social media and the things that are happening now, and thinking like, oh, this is the worst it's ever been. And then I think back to my ancestors, right? We're like living through the Great Depression or fleeing, Europe for their lives. It's honestly not the worst it's ever been. There's just patterns of chaos. And so if we are constantly looking externally and saying, well, yeah, you don't know how hard it is because you're not doing it, you're just using that as an excuse, because the one thing you do have to change that's consistent is you. So when you think about the system that you have your 6 steps, which I love.
I do.
So in your dating reboot, which step challenged you the most that you teach clients and you're going through it yourself and you're like, wow, okay, I have some inner work to do?
Yeah. Interesting. The first step is always what I call falling in love with your grown-up self, right?
Yeah.
And so I was divorced. Divorce was final about a year ago. And this year, I just started dating couple months ago. So that was my first step, was the most important, right? Who am I now? And this is so important for those of us who are post-divorce, post-breakup, haven't dated for a really long time, still have, and this is step 2, still have those old stories in our head about what we would need to change in order for someone to love us. Those stories that go back to your parents and Cosmo magazine, right? When you're a kid. And so that the most challenging thing was, and it wasn't that hard because I'm 20 years older and I have all this life experience. So I realized, I took my own advice.
Right. Good. Love that. Gotta do that.
I'm a good coach. I took my own advice and I reviewed, I kind of, didn't reinvent myself at all. I brought myself back to who I was before. I love that. Before the marriage was kind of fucked up. And I realized that I was making myself small and that's not who I am. So I went through that. I processed that. Like, who am I now? And I had a really good therapist who said, she's still there. Like that woman that you were before you lost yourself in a kind of a tough marriage, she's still there. And I went, oh yeah, I'm her. So I had to really consciously get to know myself again. And I liked myself and I was cool and I was okay. And I want to say one thing about what you said about situational challenges. I live in a freaking small town in Mexico where the expat community, the English speaking community is maybe 10%. And I don't speak fluent Spanish. I'm trying, but hard. And so this is the worst place to meet men, right? I mean, seriously, very small English speaking community. And there's they say it's 8-to-1 women to men. But you know what? I can either do what a lot of my old clients did and say, I'll never meet anybody, it's so hard. Or I can just say, I just need one.
Yes.
And either move or make the best here.
I love that, because you and I both know that we have clients that live in massive cities. They're like, it's so hard to meet men in New York. And then we have people that live in really small towns. They're like, it's impossible to meet men in this small town. So wherever you go, there you are.
There you are.
Yeah, exactly.
It is hard. It is harder. Yeah. And I actually got on apps. I really, apps are the best way to meet people. I got on apps for a few weeks. It's hard for me because the vast majority of men don't speak English. So I've got some really unique challenges, but so what? I'm good. I can handle it and I can be creative, and I'm dating a guy and he really likes me. I don't know if I really like him, but it feels good, Anyway, I'm just kind of going day to day.
It's so great. When you are working with women that have never been in a long-term relationship or married particularly, and they get into their late 40s, or they're approaching their late 40s, or even 40 probably at this point, because I know there's so much pressure for people to do the thing if that's what they want to do. What's your best advice for someone? Because I think that when I would talk to clients about that and they'd finally maybe feel good, they'd fall in love with themselves, they'd do the first step and they'd start dating. And then guys would ask oh, tell me about your relationship history. And they're like, have so much shame, right? Or guilt, or feel like they have to defend. So what have you noticed in that arena? What did you suggest people say?
Yeah. Well, I lived it, right? Since I was 47. So like every date I had was, why have you never been married? In other words, we heard it as, what's wrong with you? Right?
Yes.
That was the translation. Couple things. One thing is, if a man's asking you out on a date and knows that you've never been married, he wants to get to know you.
Right.
Like, so don't assume that translation is accurate. It's also a fair question. The women that hate when men ask are the same women that look at a profile and see a guy's 52 and never been married and goes, next.
Right.
So there's all kinds of assumptions. I lived it for a really long time. I have women do what I call a prepared statement.
I love that.
You know you're going to get asked. You're
going to get it, right? You need it. Yeah.
And if you aren't prepared, and I don't script like much at all, but this I kind of script. If you're not prepared, you end up oversharing, or you end up being really kind of rude, like it's none of your business kind of response, right? So my prepared statement went something like, yes, it's true. I've not been married. I've had a few relationships. I've really focused on my career for a very long time. And now what I'm focusing on is having a really good relationship for the rest of my life. And I'm excited. That's it. So it's truth, right? It's like saying the truth and giving him the fact and then turning it to what's, positive. Like, I'm really excited about this right now and it's my focus. And a lot of times I'll be like, so what are you excited about? Like, what's floating your boat these days? And so I can
pivot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a fan of the prepared statement.
I love it. And smart men, which they all are not, smart men get it. Like, I'm setting a boundary, right? And then if they want to know more, my answer is, unless they're being assholes about it, my answer is, I hope we get to know each other. I got so many stories I'd love to tell you. But for right now, I'd love to know more about you.
Write that one down, people.
And it's kind and it's honest. Yeah, I've never been married. And no shame, ladies. There's no shame about never being married. I've got clients in their 70s who've never been married and they're looking for love. That is part of that internal work you have to do, is getting rid of the feeling like there's something wrong with you, because there's not. You've lived your life differently than maybe most people, and that's okay. And it's about where you are today.
Beautiful. When you are working with someone who is being really picky, because I think that can be, I think almost like the older we get, the more we're asking for, because we feel like we have more to give up, or more to, like our life doesn't suck is basically how I always say it.
Right.
Your life doesn't suck, right? How does someone know? And then there's their friends that will say, oh, you're just being so picky. You need to blah, blah, blah. I remember like getting fixed up with someone like literally that was toothless. And I said to my friend, I was like, literally, we have to have more in common than we both breathe air. Like, that's not enough.
I'm not desperate, right?
Yeah, I'm like, so how do you know if you're being too picky?
Well, funny, that's step 3. Fix your man picker. Did you know that? Were you setting it up? I think people should know that about 15 years ago, you and I created my steps together.
I know.
Yeah. And they hold up. You need to be picky. There's people that say, oh, you shouldn't have expectations. Bullshit. You should have a lot of expectations about how someone's going to treat you, about how someone's going to show up for you, how someone's going to be, devoted to you. But your list of must-haves need to be what I call your grown-up must-haves. So I focus on how you need to feel. Do you need to, not what he has to be. So it's about you. You need to feel safe. You need to feel respected. You need to feel sexy. You need to feel, elated. There's certain feelings that you want to have that when you have that sustains a long-term relationship. And what a guy looks like and how tall he is and get over the fucking college education thing, ladies. I mean,
I know. I have a client in her 70s who's literally like, I had to like really arm wrestle with her to let go of that. I was like, Laura, you're saying, because when he was 20,
right,
which at your age was like what, 1950 something, right? Is that right? About 1960. He needed to make this decision to go to college or whatever. Like, you have no, and I was like, have you changed? Like, it's literally insane. So, with all due respect, to those who think that, bam. So what do you think that's a cover up for? Because I'm just like, that is a cover up.
Oh, it is. It definitely is. Okay, let's see if I can articulate this, because I have trouble. I think that we feel unsafe and we feel like we're going to repeat bad mistakes. Right. I know this. I live it. Because I didn't trust myself to make a good choice. And to be honest, since I've had a bad marriage now, it's still there a little bit, right? I haven't completely worked through that. We put up these, we try to find tangible things on our checklist. And it's tangible to look at how tall he is, or what his business is, or if he walks us to our car the first meeting, right? Though it makes us feel like we have some sort of like, we're making good choices, and it's something that we could put our arms around. It's really hard to put your arms around if a man makes you feel safe. It takes getting to know him better. It takes trusting yourself. It takes doing some digging and having some communication skills and skills about getting to know him and helping him get to know you. It's not as easy as, oh, how tall is he? Does this make sense at all?
It does. It does, because I think what you're saying is that when you're afraid and guarded and protected, and you're afraid and guarded and protected, your brain is looking for external things that will be that protection and that reason why you don't have to open up, or why you don't have to trust, or you don't have to go on any dates at all. And that's the whole thing. I wrote this little note on Substack, and it was like, I don't want to hear, I've already tried that. That doesn't work for me. You don't understand my situation, right? Because those are just the cover up for the cover up.
Mm-hmm. You know, and I get it.
And it is hard. And also, what do you say to that?
First of all, I did that till I was like 45. So I spent a lot of years buried in my business. Right. So I could control that. That's the other thing too. We can control business. It's hard to control a man. Yeah. So what I say to that is, again, working through this is, I keep talking about my steps because you brought it up.
But no, the steps rock.
But it's the story, step 2 is getting past your stories and getting past those things you think are true. And what's true is you're going to repeat what you think might be true. I'm going to repeat the same mistakes. No man's going to want me because I have fat thighs. That was always my thing. I still have fat thighs. I just can't get rid of them. Men are cheaters, liars, blah, blah, can't trust men. All that stuff is about not trusting yourself. So that's why, like now, this time dating for me, I don't have any of that shit, because I know I'll make a good decision. And I also know if I make a bad decision, I know how to get out of it.
Right. Because you trust yourself to be like, oops, pivot.
Yeah. Like, dumbass, like, get out of there. So what I say to people is, I get the fear. I get it. And you know what they say, being brave is not being afraid. It's about moving past it and doing it anyway. And in a way, that's what we have to do. But a bottom line is knowing yourself and trusting yourself. And sometimes that takes a lot of inner work.
I mean, it 100% takes inner work. I always think about it like when you're watching a movie, I don't watch horror movies, but I have in my life, where like you're yelling at the girl on the screen, like, don't go in there, right? Like, it's so obvious, right? And what I think about it, it's like the part of us that got hurt is in the audience watching us, right? And that person in the audience has been hurt. And so she's like, don't go in there, right? Right?
I love that.
The thing is, like, when we are the character in the movie, and we're not going in there just because it looks like there's an empty room and the music is playing. we're not going in there. We know, right? Or maybe we get a creepy sense. You know, you go on the date and you're like, cute, nice, something's off, not quite sure, but I get that. I'm going to follow through on that. And so I would say don't let the audience person like direct the movie, because you're not the same. You have an opportunity if you do the work to not be the girl who just walks in and goes, oh, you know.
Yeah, that's so. I love that, because you know that's the gremlin, right? That's the voice in your head that tells you you're an idiot. Don't do that. Well, no, the voice needs to. You need to work that voice to say you're good. You can take care of yourself. You can make a good choice. And if you don't, it's okay. You can fix it. That's the thing, is that those bad choices that we made, and oh man, I mean, I made a lot. I don't consider my marriage, by the way, a bad choice. We had 18 years and a lot of them were really good. And that's another thing, having to get over, having to move past any bitterness and hate and shame.
Right.
And, you know, you have to do that before you date, before you can trust yourself, you know. But it's hard. It's not easy at this age. It's not easy after like a big breakup, or if you haven't dated for a really long time. But the payoff can be so good, right? Like I said, I don't regret my marriage. Don't tell him that, because I don't want him to.
No, I would never. You know what it is really? I'm kind of like giggling to myself is that, I mean, I was divorced. I was 38, right? So it was different, but I had 3 kids, and it was a whole different set of challenging circumstances. They were little. Who's going to want me with 3 kids, you know, da, 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 da. But I'm giggling because I think that it makes you even a more understanding coach. Because before you were like, oh, I get what it's like to be 47 and date. And now you're like, I get what it's like to be divorced. I get what it's like to be a widow. You know, I get, like, you've gone through another experience. And I think that to bring that in to what your empathy with your clients, and for all those ladies who are listening who would listen to a coach and be like, you don't know, you've been blah, blah, blah. I just think that, you know, you do know, and I know, and it changes us. And when I got divorced, I was like, I can either feel sorry for myself or I can get my shit together. And that meant really looking, because I always say, you know, I'm the common denominator in all my failed relationships. And so for you to be like, I had those 18 good years. It wasn't 100% his fault. Like, it was, I take responsibility who I was when I picked him, what happened every time. And that's healing. And that is like freeing, because then you can go, cool. So now, you always say, like, so what, now what?
Yeah. Well, dating like a grown up, you know, I mean, taking the 3 principles, and thank you for saying that, because just a little step back. I was very concerned about telling people I was getting divorced, because I thought, you know, women, my clients, women on my list, people that know me and trusted me, I thought that they would, you know, judge me harshly.
Right, like undermine your credibility or something. Yeah.
Yeah, because so much of my coaching was all about my good marriage, and it wasn't a lie. That's why I stopped working a couple years ago, because it wasn't so great, and I wasn't going to put myself out there as something I wasn't.
Right.
So when I sent an email out to my list that the subject line was, I got a divorce, people were pretty shocked, but they were so kind. Oh my God. They were, you know, women are, they were just so kind. And, but okay, just had to say that. So thank you for saying that. My 3 principles of dating like a grown-up, is balance your head and heart. So don't be all, because a lot of the women that are like, I did that, they're just staying up here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Balance your head and heart. And the second one is be kind to yourself and the men you meet, right? Because we can be really angry at men. You know, being single for 47 years, till I was 47, it was hard not to distrust men. And then take responsibility for your actions and outcomes. And, that's kind of like when my marriage broke up, I kind of lived by those, you know, by those principles. And I think they're really important. Even if it's hard. I mean, I have an article that I wrote like 100 years ago called, you've slain worse dragons.
Right.
I mean, having a guy say no to you or having someone break up with you, or let's face it, at this age, there are so many things that have been so screwed up in our lives that we've overcome. There's just that child part of us that still feels bad when a boy doesn't like us. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, ew,
I mean, 100, no, 100,
not popular.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting that if we don't, and that's why I say how you do everything. One thing is how you do everything, right? Like, so for those people that you're calling out some of these patterns, do they say, oh yeah, I kind of do that with my kids, or I do that sometimes at work, or, I'm doing that in other parts. Do you see that?
Oh yeah. Things like setting boundaries. So that's the thing about what we do, with dating coaching. When, like, if a woman comes to me and says, I want you to put me online and help me date, I'll be like, no, because wherever you go, there you are, girlfriend, like you said, right?
Yeah.
So we always start with the internal work, and some women need more and different type of work. But yeah, I sort of lost my train of thought, but, where was I going, Marnie?
Well, we were talking about, it's funny because I was like, yeah, that's so true. We were talking about I don't even know what we're talking about, but what you just said is brilliant. So fuck it.
Oh yeah, fuck it. I love that. Fuck it. Next. Yeah. It's
next question. But I think that this whole idea of like, you have to take responsibility for your actions, right? And sometimes it takes work, sometimes it doesn't. And if someone comes to me, I have someone, if you're listening, I'm calling you out, came to me like, I've done everything, blah, 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 just get me online. I'm like, no, that's not what I do. Like, I can refer you to a million people. That's not what I do. No. And I sort of like arm wrestled her into it. And the truth is she isn't doing the work. She doesn't come to her calls. And all she wanted to do is get her photos done and get online. But the thing is, now she's got her photos done and she's not getting online because she's afraid of getting hurt because she didn't do the inner work. So I think that if you look at your life and you go, I am the common denominator in all my relationships.
Always.
Like, I know you want the easy fast pass and the hack and, read an article and some, light's going to fall on you and the hottest fucking guy is going to walk through the door. That is just not going to happen.
I wish. Yeah. And,
Bobbi looks through a door. Is he there? No, he's not there.
No, not the pizza guy, not the pizza delivery guy. Yeah. And that's why for now, in my business, I'm really focusing on having just a few private clients and really helping women just finally get through all the crap that's keeping them stuck. Cause I get it. I mean, I was there and now I'm not. So I can it's really wonderful. Like, I could see the difference. I feel the difference. I talked about it for a really long time, and I had to make those changes in order to finally get married and to maintain a marriage for a long time. But now I really get that, like, redating it. Now that I know all this stuff, it's not scary. It's not exhausting. It's not hopeless. It's kind of fun.
I was going to say fun.
Yeah. And, you know me, I'm like really honest. I used to tell clients dating could be fun. And as a married woman, I think kind of, kind of it could be fun. But it really can. It can be joyful and it could be interesting. And you can just let it flow and let it happen and not try to control it. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's like letting go, control yourself, and the rest will happen.
Yeah, I think the key for that is people ask me all the time, and I'll get your answer. How do you have a goal? Like, I want to meet someone. And how do you also not control it and not get in that space? Like, I hope he's the one. I hope he's the one. Da, da, da. My client, I remember her saying, like, I'm really trying hard, but every day I look in the mirror and I put my makeup on. And I'm like, maybe he's at the grocery store. Maybe he's at the school thing with my kids. Maybe he's, in the lobby at my doctor's or dentist's office. She's like, I can't stop. What do I do? What do you do?
What'd you tell her?
What did I tell her?
Yeah.
I told her, like, let go control of the how and focus on what can you do to just show up in all those things as your best self, right? And like being, interacting, flirting with life, like just having joy talking to people, right? Like that's what you can control. And so, and she did do it, and she's dating a really great guy. And she also said it was super, once she let go of that, like you're saying, and I don't, because I don't want people to think, oh, Bobbi, like, look how great she's got she's got that cute haircut. Like, she lives in this cool place. Like, it's easy for her. That I would say, and I know this is true for your clients too, like, when you follow a process, when you do the thing, when you have a strategy, when you're not overly invested, when you don't take rejection personally, you attract better guys. It actually is super fun. You're like, wow, there's actually a lot of great guys. Wow, a lot of guys are interested in me. Like, who will I pick? I feel the biggest problem is I feel bad because I don't like him as much as he likes me, which is what sounds like so a little bit. You could be so close.
I could be there, and it's all true. It's really, so what is it? Simple but not easy.
Right. Yes.
What you control is only you. And everyone knows this intellectually. You can't control the guy at the grocery store. You can't control who's going to be behind you in the, bringing their laundry. You have no control over that. So you just do your best with who you are and go out, get out of the fucking house, which I'm struggling with a little bit because I don't know. It's just something about being in San Miguel. I live in San Miguel de Allende. It's so beautiful. I'm looking at it, beautiful, beautiful mountains. I'm like, I kind of like being home. But
get out into those mountains, Bobbi Palmer.
I know. But that's the thing is, intellectually, all you can control is you. And then there's the guys and the universe or whatever, however you define it. And when you let that go, you can actually have some joy around it.
So great. You're so brilliant. It does take practice. Someone was like, you don't go to the gym once and be like, hey, look at my muscles, right? You know that you have to go over and over and over again. You have to eat the right foods. You have to do all those things, right? And dating is the same way. And I don't know who the hell, put a spell on the people who are dating to think that it's magic, that like, just because you run into people and you meet people and whatever. But even where I met Jeremy, that was very specific, right? I remember I was fully dating online because whether I met someone or not, I needed to practice. I needed to practice saying yes. I needed to practice saying no. I needed to have dates. I needed, and then I was like in my life, doing my life. And that going online energy, like amplified, right? You're like, wow, this is kind of fun. This is cool. I am hot shit. To where and then I was out doing things that I really loved. And that happens to be how I met him. Right. But I know that I needed to do the work when I would log in and I'd be like, oh God, you're here still. And I'd be like, oh shit, I'm here still. And I was like, no, that is not the time to be dating. When you feel that way, you need to take a damn break. And I did. And I was like, this isn't going to work. And so there's so many ways to catch yourself, but I want everyone to know it's not just because your world is your bubble is you think this is the reality and this is truth and this is the way it is. I'm here with Bobbi to tell you, you are literally walking in a tunnel and you don't see the other way, but it is 100% there. The door is open. It's over there. But if you just keep your blinders on, you will literally never see the opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. And your fear, it's your fear of, my line, it's your fear of rejection that's getting you rejected. And it's your fear, all your fears and all your stories and everything that's making it seem so hard and so painful and sometimes hopeless. And I get it. Like, gosh, like you talk about empathy. I get it. We've been there. I used to think, Marnie, when I first met you, I used to think she's so pretty and she's got this killer bod and she's so smart and she's so successful. Like she doesn't know what it's like for me. So I was that girl. And then of course I know you really, really well. And I know you're human, just like the rest of us.
So human.
You're so human. And I know you've had your stuff.
All I see right now is my neck. We're talking, I'm like, damn. So also I have like a ski thing. And so my neck and I have this like tan from when I went to Hawaii from reading. And so every once in a while I'm like, damn, look at my 58-year-old neck. And then I'm like, Bobbi's hair is so cute. See, we're all human.
I know. And it's really dumb. I mean, so that's the thing too. In my little bio, when you say there's men want a woman like you, I don't care. This is so true. I don't care how old you are, what color your hair is, how educated you are. If you have a pain in the ass child living with you now, 50-year-old child living with you now, I don't care how much money you have, how big your thighs are, blah, blah, blah. There's a man out there who will love you. Every one of us is lovable. It's kind of like when we do profiles for people, Marnie, and they're like, I'm so boring. I don't have anything. I'm not interesting. Yeah, you know what? You don't have to like climb Mount Kilimanjaro to be interesting.
No.
Men are looking for kindness. They're looking for empathy. They're looking for compassion. They're looking for fun.
A real person, a flawed human like them. Because that's the thing, right? If you put on there like, I like walks on the beach and it's not real, right? And then a guy's going to read your profile and be like, I'm not good enough for her. And that you're rejecting men. When you try to be so perfect and you feel like you need to be perfect, it means that they feel that they have to be perfect and they're going to like bow out or not even write you. So it's about owning our flaws and loving ourselves. And I say that to everyone who's listening. There's literally a guy who's dated 43 and a half crazy ass bitches who just wants a down to earth, normal person with a big heart who's not bitter, not carrying like a bunch of shit on her back from her back. That's all.
And who can trust.
Yes, who can trust. Because I think, tell me what you think about this. I think men are way more open, less picky than women are.
They really are. You're not dating 20-year-olds, right? I mean, like my clients, you're not dating 20-year-olds trying to get in your pants. You're, and wanting to like and then there's some men that want a woman on his arm, but we don't care about them. But that's why when you go on dates, and this is true, so true, the older that we are, the more this happens. Men just like talk and talk and talk and talk. You can't get them to shut up. That's because they're so charmed by you. And they're like, you're acting like open and welcoming. And they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Because so many women come with that wall of I dare you that I talk about. So, it's very interesting. I don't even know how the human race has been around so long with men and women being so, you know how Alison Armstrong says, men are not wrong. They're just different. That is, we could do another 5 hours on that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, I went on a tangent.
No, it's so true. Well, I know your tagline is find hope and then find him, right?
Yeah. Hope is the number one thing that has to come. And then comes that self-confidence and that sort of knowing that it's going to happen and not being so stuck on trying to make it happen today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to, it just reminded me if I can find it. I want to read this from my book because it totally fits what we're talking about. Because one of the questions in my book is, were you hopeful? And it says this. So I want you to address this and then we'll wrap it up. But the question asks, if we have maintained a life-affirming positive attitude, to focus on the half-full glass and to be in acceptance of what is while also staying hopeful. It may be one of the most difficult challenges we ever have to face. This question teaches us that we can measure our lives by how well we try.
I love that. I think it's so true. And when you talk about how well we try, that's the piece that we claim control of.
Yes.
That's the piece.
I love
That's
it.
The piece.
Bobbi Palmer. I love you.
I love you.
Great. You're so
I miss you. Come visit me.
I wish we could go like on a world tour together. That'd be so fun. If you're a TV producer, call us.
We'd be so good together.
We'd be so good together. I would definitely get the bangs.
The reason you're making, I have bang
envy. My daughter has bangs. I have bang envy.
I told Imran I haven't had bangs since I was like 12. So it's like a big deal.
So they're so cute. Okay. Anyway, I'll just be obsessing about it. No, don't be sorry. I mean, come on. Everyone, if you're watching on YouTube, I mean, doesn't it make you want to get bangs? Just saying. Ladies, this episode has been chock full of practical tips and ways of thinking and 100 million pounds of hope. And if Bobbi could do it, you could do it. If I could do it, you could do it. We have like hundreds of clients between us who do it. You just have to say, am I willing to be helpful, and to rise again and to try. Remember, always and in always is your responsibility to life check yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Hey, thanks for tuning in today. Listen, if you're feeling stuck, I want you to know you're not alone, and you don't have to settle for it. I've created a free quiz to help you pinpoint what's draining your energy and exactly how you can fix it. So head over to decodeyourdestinyquiz.com and take the 60-second quiz right now. That's decodeyourdestinyquiz.com. And if you're ready to dive deeper, you can book a free no-obligation consultation at marnibatista.com/private coaching. That's Marni, M-A-R-N-I, Batista, B-A-T-T-I-S, as in Sam, T-A.com/private coaching, all one word. Let's take the first step to creating a life you love on your terms. I'm Marni, and I'll see you next time.